If you're an artist today, step one is, can you bring people out? Do whatever you got to do. Figure a way to gather a group of people. That's an important part of this whole equation of being an artist. I mean, eventually you got to gather people to come to a show. You got to gather people to listen to your music. You have to do something that makes people look into what you're doing.
The One More Time Music Podcast. Genuine conversations with genuine people about music. Hosted by Henry with a 3 and Playback Ben.
Went from Beamer Coops to Pencils. Don't want this to end, so pop that one more time. Pop that one more time. Pop that shit like one more time. They pop that one more time.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for another episode of the One More Time podcast. I am your host, Playback Ben, here with my co-host,
Henry with a 3, a.k.a. The Trap Jack Black.
The Trap Jack Black. I like that.
Good one, right?
That's good. Henry, who do we have on the podcast today?
Welcoming in on episode 40 of the One More Time
Big
podcast.
4-0.
Big 4-0.
Large 4-0. You know him as a supervillain from the Marvel Universe. It's Eric Killmonger.
Killmonger in the building.
I fought people for less for that.
Have you ever gotten that before because of the hairdo?
Man, bro, when I first got it, I got so many Killmongers.
Who had the hair first?
I'd like to say that I had it like 6 months before that movie came out.
So they had it probably though, like a year before the movie
You know
came
what?
out.
It's funny. Yeah. So I mean, I wasn't on the set, so I never even knew that was a thing.
Okay.
It really was. I saw some World Cup. It was one of the dudes in World Cup, and I was like, man, that shit's hard. Like I was like, I just needed something different. I had dreads, and I was just like, man, I just need something different. And so I talked to my barber. He was like, man, I was like, bro, what if we just cut half of it?
Yeah.
And like,
well, yo, shout out to Trim for helping us out with the roast because I was like, yo, who does Blake look like?
you are
and he
unique,
came
bro.
through
It's
with the
tough.
Killmonger.
oh yeah.
Shout out Trim.
So shout out Trim.
Yeah.
In all seriousness.
In all seriousness, this is legendary producer, manager, business owner, the list goes on, 808 Blake.
Oh man.
We appreciate you coming on, man.
Damn, I've never gotten legendary before. I appreciate that.
You are legendary.
Legendary.
That's for sure. So you've been crushing the dad game. You're like, what, 7 months in?
7 months in, yeah. Loving the dad game.
Ben
you-
needs some pointers.
I need some tips. I'm expecting in May.
Yeah.
Give me just a couple of the like key takeaways, man.
The first few months, you and your wife be nice to each other because
that's going to be hard.
That shit is a blur. Like, yeah, I mean, just you're not gonna sleep. I mean,
God,
your days
up.
of sleeping are done. Yeah, I mean, like, I was just thinking about it today. I'm like, I'm fucking tired. I've been tired for 7 months.
7 months.
Yeah, and on top of I was already tired of music, but I am ultra tired. But I love every second of it. I mean, it's just you're living for something different, which is, for me, I think that was a big part of me. I don't know. It's just a great thing, man.
Yeah.
And she's fucking dope.
Yeah.
My little Lula Bear. Shout out to her.
She's already a Georgia fan.
She's already a Georgia fan.
And a rap fan.
I'm hoping my next little protege.
You're going to put a microphone
But I'm not
in
putting
her
no
hand?
pressure on her. She wants to fucking be a marine biologist. By all means, do it.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
So, you've also been called like a natural dad. You said it's been like something you felt really, natural doing. You've been somewhat of like a caregiver. Have you been playing like a father figure, would you say, like in your music career at all?
I think, I would say father figure, more coach. Like, it's funny.
Coach Blake.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Like, I kind of studied like sports management, and I really always got into the idea of coaching. Like,
Okay.
if I wasn't going to do music, I always thought about coaching. But I mean, music is the same idea. And so, yeah, coaching, it's trying to, I mean, even as a producer, you're trying to get the best quality and help somebody grow and see things in themselves that they may not see. So, yeah, it's working itself out as dad. I mean, like, it's funny. She just started crawling like 2 days ago.
Shout out Lula.
Yeah.
Lula.
But like, I literally had like in her little play set, I put her in the corner so she could just work her legs for like early.
Training her.
Yeah. And like every time I go to the doctor and they're like, that's it. Cause she could hold herself up by like 3 months.
Damn.
And they were like, that's advanced. And I was like, that's the training.
That's her.
That's the training.
She's
That's
mine.
hilarious. That's hilarious. Yeah. So you've had like an eclectic background. You've
Yeah.
been really exposed to like a lot of people from different walks of life, all sorts of socioeconomic, race, gender, whatever. Has that served you, well, you think, in music?
Definitely. To me, it's like my ability to, I can get in a room and kind of figure out how I can connect with somebody. You know, whether you be from the streets, whether you be at Harvard. I mean, I always try to sit there and find a common ground or a common connection, and then attack it from there. And music, you know, there's so many people from so many different backgrounds, and so like your background has nothing. You know, it's just where can we connect and where can we find a night? You know, just something to start off, and then from there, let's build from there. So I've always, you know, I try to I ask questions. I'll sit in a room sometimes, just let people talk and just kind of get some that I'm like, oh, you do that? Well, I like doing that. So let's conversate on that. And then we can work our way back into the music or whatever. But yeah, it definitely, I definitely appreciate, like, I went to like 5 different schools over the course of my growing up and shit like that. And then I went to 2 different colleges.
Yeah, you went to Hampton first.
Right. I went to an all-black school first. And then
you figured out that was not for you? Was that like, what was the reason behind transferring to Georgia?
It wasn't that it wasn't for me. I enjoyed my 2 years there. Like, I turned the fuck up for 2 years. Like,
yeah, but I thought they had like dorm curfews.
They had curfews. The freshman year was curfew shit.
Because I thought he left for the partying.
I did. I wanted to go back to. I definitely wanted a more traditional college experience, but
yeah. Insert Athens.
Yeah. So I went from all black to all white.
Perfect on the walks of life.
But example. I enjoyed, like, Hampton was a great experience. Like, I got to shout out my boy Ali Kareem. Sneaker Be Stupid, man. He's a dope shoe designer. He works at Under Armour now.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
But he came my sophomore year, and we I don't know why my mom she let me get a house. And we just we burned that house to the fucking ground.
You did not get the security deposit back?
Definitely not. That house was in shambles.
Couldn't even rent again.
Like, I mean, I just had no rules. I had no rules then, and then after that, you know, I understood the black college experience. Like, it was great to be there. I think I wanted something a little bit more challenging, something that kind of was the real world. Like, I think. Black colleges are great, but there is a point where you reach and you're like, this is cool, but in the real world, it's not all black. So you got to be able to fend for yourself. And I wanted to be a bigger fish in a bigger pond type deal. So I was like, fuck it, let's go to Georgia. And it's funny, coming out of high school, I never thought I wanted to go to Georgia.
I was so anti-UGA.
Me too. I was like, man, there's a bunch of racists up there. Man. Fuck all that.
I thought it might be fun.
Yeah, but then I went to UNC and it was the same, just bunch of white people.
Yeah, the southern schools are like that. But you know, it's like you got to figure out where you stand. And to me, it was just like, I mean, it was 40,000 kids, and it's like, how do I make an impact among 40,000 people?
Yeah.
And so like I figured it out. I mean, I joined a black fraternity over there, the Alpha Phi Alpha, man, and we brought that chapter back and started getting the newspaper for that, and just hustling, throwing parties and shit like that.
Yeah, were you doing music at the time?
I was. So I was literally going to school in Athens and then driving back on the weekends. I would go to do beat battles at Apache.
Okay. Shout out Apache. Yeah, open mic shows they used to have.
Drez, man. Shout out Drez the Beatnik, man.
Drez with the big hair.
Another legend, man.
Yeah.
And, you know, I hope he gets his just due in the Atlanta scene, because he was one of the best hosts.
Yo, we need Drez on the podcast.
Drez?
Yeah, Drez.
We'd love to have you on the podcast,
my guy.
But yeah, I was driving back and forth trying to, you know, whatever I could to get on.
So was this during the Stereotypes days?
Oh God, you know, Stereotypes.
Ben is the Nardwuar of podcasts.
Yeah,
he does his research.
So Stereotypes was a duo, right? It was you as the producer, and you were locked in with just one artist, right?
Yeah, so it was me and my best friend Patrick Sullivan, who was actually a silent partner in Playbook.
Okay.
Nice.
He's a lawyer now.
Not so silent now, I guess.
Not so, yeah.
One more time exclusive.
One more time.
But yeah, he was the rapper, and you know, I always knew I wanted to. We had started doing making music in high school, and like you know Barry Hefner.
Yeah,
of course.
He was
Love
a
Barry.
rapper in there. And
Ben
so,
loves Barry.
I love Barry.
Yeah.
He reposts everything that Barry posts.
My Instagram is basically a Barry like repost to my story, because his brain is just. I mean, I love the way he thinks.
Nah,
I really do.
He's one of a kind.
Yeah.
And he was rapping. Pat was rapping. We had another homeboy, B Smith, was rapping.
Oh, B Smith. Shout out B Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen him in a while.
And we would just, really the whole thing was like they were rapping and I was like, I'm not really trying to be a rapper, but I need to have a role because you just don't want to be all your friends are doing.
It was so much fun.
Yeah,
it was like,
so you got a cracked copy of FL Studio.
I got from the one and only Justin Padron.
Yes,
I got
sir.
shout out Padron.
JP was the plug the plug. He would plug me up with plugs, all kinds
Literally.
of plugins and shit.
Yeah. Plug.
Yeah, he'd give me sounds and shit, and I just literally. I would drive back. I would go to Atlanta and go get shit from Justin, and then I would drive back to Athens and just sit in my room and just fucking tinker and toy.
How'd you meet Justin, by the way? I never knew that because I met y'all around the same time.
We was in high school shit. We was throwing parties. Me, him, Barry. You gotta understand, like in high school, we was like the movie Kids. You ever see that movie Kids?
Yeah, I love that movie.
We literally would just lawlessly running through the streets of Atlanta. I mean, with no fucking. There was one summer where I never went home, and like I was just with Banks and Barry. You know what I'm saying? We had a whole house that like to ourselves, and we would just
in high school.
High school, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And we was cool with like. I mean, the thing is like we was cool with all the Metro Atlanta schools. So that's Druid Hills, Lakeside, North Atlanta. We had friends at Tucker, we had friends at Woodward, we had Pace, Paideia, and then you had, we had Westlake, we had, you know what I'm saying? We were, so we would throw a party, it'd be
Grady?
700 kids. Yeah, great, all the Grady kids.
Yeah.
And so Crim, and so whenever we would throw a party, I'm talking about it'd be 8, 9 high schools that would come.
Wow.
And that's like, you were just meeting people through shit like that. And so like Justin was there. I went to, Justin be at parties and we would kick it, and then he'd be like, "Yo, I record, I produce and record and shit." He was the first one to record us, so we'd go to his apartment and shit and record, and it was a fun time in Atlanta, honestly, because it's just like there were no rules. They're just get in how you fit in and kind of make your way from that point.
Yeah,
And
so who are some of your favorite like rapper producer duos?
Rapper producer duos.
Yeah, because like there's a lot of them that have come up together, right?
Right. The OG, the greatest to ever do it is definitely Quincy and Mike.
Okay.
Of course.
Then you got, I loved Pharrell with the Clips.
Yeah.
I loved.
Pusha's new album is like getting so much buzz right now.
Yeah. Push is one of the hardest to do it, man.
Yeah. Real street rap.
I always loved like Toomp and T.I. I always thought they were a fucking crazy just combination. Of course, Organized Noise and Outkast.
Yes.
Who else?
Those are some greats.
JD and Criss Cross. That's
a hilarious one, but I agree.
First of all, Criss Cross, like you gotta understand, like when my first concert I ever went to was Criss Cross. It was MC Hammer, TLC, and Criss Cross.
Wow.
I was 5. It was at the Omni. And
5 years old.
I knew right there. Hammer came out of a spaceship at the Omni, and I said, "This is what I could do this for the rest of my life." Yeah, it was the most amazing thing I had ever seen.
Can we credit MC Hammer for your entire career right now?
Hammer was. I knew that whole
time.
album. I knew that the Criss Cross album. I knew that shit back and forth. I was like, I go to school with my clothes backwards. Yeah, I'm saying like, and JD is a fucking genius. I hope. He's another one that like I hope he gets his just due for how dope he is. And also Jermaine Dupri and Usher, the Confessions album.
Oh God,
one of the most
underrated.
One of the greatest R&B albums of all time, if you ask me.
Literally, an Uber driver in New York was playing that.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is amazing. I had not heard
guys
that
know about
album. I just hadn't heard it in so long. It's so
Like-
old, but I was like, this is amazing. Awesome.
Also, Leon Ware and Marvin Gaye, the I Want You album is amazing.
Ooh.
Like
This guy really knows.
Great
his dude.
answer.
like I study this music shit.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
you know
for
what
sure.
I mean? Like my dad gave me all his records when I was like 17, and I just sat up and just went through everything to understand it. But Norman Whitfield and Temptations, their album is hard.
Damn, we should do a whole episode where Blake just names producer and artist duos.
There's some great ones out there.
Yeah.
And like, the cool part about it is I love when you cultivate a specific sound. You know what I mean?
Yes, it's unique.
It is, and I think it's kind of a lost art sometimes. We're starting to see it. It's around. I just don't. Everybody wants to go get, the hottest thing or whatever is going on. So things tend to sound the same. But when you really work with a producer and an artist, there's something something gets unlocked or something a little bit more special, I think.
Yeah.
Especially because I think we're in a singles market so heavy. People are pushing singles. You got to have hit singles.
Right.
We're losing the whole, producer and artist lock in and make a project together.
Right.
When you have the time to really lock in and develop something, I think that is especially getting lost.
And that, to me, I mean, that's been my whole career. It's like I kind of gave up on, the single part of it versus like I just wanted to make projects because it just always.
That's kind of where I'm going.
Yeah, I mean, it's dope, man. It was just, it was a chance to really, like I said, make something different or special or something that means something to you, and like just having that chance to work with a specific artist and get to know them and interweave their stories into what you do as making music. I think that's just one of the dopest things you can do. But I mean, there's no knock for anybody who makes hot singles because that shit's hard as fuck too.
When you do these projects with people, do you hang out with the artists like outside of the studio? Do you guys go like do stuff, and kind of actually get to know each other?
Definitely,
you think that helps.
Like,
gotta go like putt with them or something,
bro. Like I said, with like Nappy Roots is, I've done 3 albums with them, with me exclusively doing the production, and
which
I toured with
crazy,
them,
by the way.
and it like touring with somebody.
It's about as close as it gets.
Oh my God, it is. It's like being married to someone, and so like, I mean, half the project. If you listen to any of the projects, most of those are stories that we've experienced or had on the road. I mean, most of them are literally, I'm like, Scales, remember we did this? Or Skinny, do you remember when we saw that? And like, let's bring that into what we're doing right now. Yeah. And it makes it, it kind of documents, and it's really just documentation, honestly. But I think it's dope when you can, like I said, you can lock into some shit and you can lock into the stories about who a person really is, and you can really get something special out of them when you can do that. So.
Yeah, so before the Nappy Roots era, though, it was SMKA.
SMKA.
What does it stand for?
Supermarket Knife Attack.
Supermarket Knife Attack.
Wow. I love that tag. Yeah. Is that
That's the
Jarren's?
most random ass name.
Is that Jarren's voice?
That's my voice.
Yeah, I was like,
that's you?
Yeah, because SMKA was a thing before even Jarren entered the picture.
Before Jarren.
Yeah. So what was the vision behind it when you first started?
So once I graduated from Georgia, I came back to Atlanta, and I was kind of like, man, I want to do this production shit. But I knew I needed help on the business side of it. Yeah. So my boy Mike Wahlberg,
Shout out Mike Wahlberg.
Shout out Mike. Mike, we're getting you on the podcast, man.
Come on, man.
Super dope businessman.
Yeah, man. And a music.
Oh, I mean, he's just a music guy.
In Atlanta music scene, over the last 10 years, he's had a great imprint on this shit.
Yeah.
So he had just graduated from USC, and I graduated from Georgia. And damn, my phone's ringing. My bad.
Yeah, if you need to answer it.
Nah, I'll call back.
Is it someone cool?
Is this someone we want on the podcast?
It's my dad.
Oh, okay.
I'll call him.
How cool is your dad?
My dad's cooler than me. Way cooler than me.
Can we ask him something?
For sure.
On the podcast?
No, literally No Jumper has like allowed the guests to like take a phone call, but if it's like a super like, I don't know. It's always like a super cool phone call. Yeah. I'm like, is this curated?
Oh, Drake just
like,
hit me up. Yeah, let's see what he's got to say.
No, like, Keed is calling Got It or something.
Right.
It's like, let me get Keed on and like talk to him. It's like a whole part of the episode.
He's really just calling to FaceTime with my daughter.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm sure your dad doesn't want to, I don't know, maybe he does want to be on the One More Time podcast. Yeah. I don't know.
Who knows?
But he's definitely calling to like, yo, is Lula up? I want to see her. And I'm like, right.
That's literally my parents with my.
Oh, yeah, get ready for that.
With my niece and nephew.
Yeah, get ready for that.
I want to see my grandbaby.
Yeah. So Mike had just graduated USC.
Just graduated USC.
Graduated Georgia.
Right, and we went to high school together. So me and Mike, we played basketball together.
Okay.
And
you started your own AAU team.
Yeah, we did.
You just like decided to start your own AAU team.
Yeah, we did.
You can just do that?
The Shockers.
Can you just do that?
I didn't think you could, but then Mike was like, yeah, we did it.
Yeah, we did.
I was like, okay.
Our boy Pat's mom was like, she got some uniforms and she filled out all the paperwork, and my older brother was the coach.
Yeah, it's like, what?
And we just fucking started it. Yeah. We had some funny stories. We played Lou Williams when he was in
Lou Will.
He was 8th grade. And my only Lou Williams story, he went. So we're 15. He's probably 13. And so we're like, well, we're playing these little ass kids. And then I was like, the Georgia. Oh my God, they beat the brakes off us. Like the Georgia Stars, bro.
Oh God,
they like motherfucking monsters, bro. Like they were something different. And he went fucking baseline, and we had a center who was 6'6", and I remember him going baseline. I kept being like, oh, I know this little motherfucker's not about to raise up on this dude. I mean, because at the time he's probably like 5'10" maybe.
Okay.
He fucking went baseline and he just kept rising, and I was like, oh my fucking God, he's about to do it. My last thing to our center was like, move, motherfucker, move. And he stood there and
Postered him?
fucking yoked him on a baseline. I'm talking about like boom, boom, and he went baseline and yoked it on him.
Just from behind the goal.
Oh my God.
This is for Lou.
Yeah, Lou
Pulled
Williams,
it out,
man.
bro. We pulled out the MLK Lou Williams. Let's fucking go.
I hope
I was wondering where you were going.
I hope Georgia.
Lou.
I hope somewhere in Atlanta we make a statue of Lou, because he probably is.
It's a legend, man.
I mean, we got Dominique, but I mean, Lou might be the greatest. I mean, Dwight Howard's cool. Played him in high school as well.
Yeah, I remember him at Southwest Atlanta Christian, man.
I played him when he was a 6'1" point guard.
Oh shit! He had a really gnarly growth spurt.
Yeah, oh, bro. He went from 8th grade, he was 6'1", and then the next year he was
7'1".
6'9". He was like,
Oh my God.
but yeah, Lou Williams should definitely get a fucking statue at some point. I don't know, man. I don't know where you put it. I mean,
Gwinnett.
We could put it at Magic City if we want.
Oh, hell yeah.
But anyway, the man's
These are great ideas.
A Georgia legend.
Yeah.
But yeah, me and Mike, we played basketball together, and we threw party. You know, me and Mike hustled together. We definitely. So it was natural when he came out, and he was working for a potato chip company. Hey, and Mike is an ideas guy, and like what are we doing? And he's like, man. I was like, bro, we can start our own production company. He's like, fuck it. So he was like, let's do it. So we literally built a studio in his parents' garage apartment, and we like hustled, bro. And
Apartments have garages now?
yeah, his house is a little different. It's a little, yeah, it's a little different. It's yeah. It was kind of like the Fresh Prince house. We were in the pool house.
Okay.
But we, our first project, we kind of, we didn't know, nobody knew the fuck we were. Nobody had heard of me. But we talked it up. Mike was like, everywhere we went, we were like, man, we got this new project. You got to be on this project. Like, blah, 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 blah. We go to this, at this time, like Fadia Cater, she was doing Broken Bougie. So we would just kind of go to Broken Bougie and start like seeing who was moving around and who was making noise in Atlanta. And like I said, we would just talk shit up, fake it till you make it kind of deal, and be like, bro, you got to get on this project. This project will be crazy. And so it took one person, first person to jump on the project, Grip Lies.
Grip, rest in peace, Grip.
Grip, yeah, rest in peace, man. I love
Grip.
Grip, man. That's one of my favorite human beings, and just really like just a Atlanta fucking legend. And he jumped on it, and he kind of just would talk us up. You know what I mean? He'd be like, bro, y'all don't fuck with Blake, bro. Y'all need to fuck with Blake. So he was
just co-signing the fuck out of you.
Oh my God, co-signing the shit out of us. He got us to do at the time was this group called Proton. Who they were like, I mean, they were popping. They were all over
That's
Fader and Complex, and Fadia was managing them.
Shit.
And who else was making noise? I mean, Sean Fallion, who's a DJ, he was rapping at that time. I mean, B.O.B. was doing his thing, and so yeah, he introduced me to, Big Mark. When we were working together, he was Alien Craft.
Yes,
and then Trim, like full.
That's how you met Trim?
That's how we met Trim.
Big shout out Trim.
Yo, he played me some unreleased Trim the other day.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, he still got it, bro.
Yeah, Trim's hard. So Trim was making noise on his own as well. Like,
Yeah.
And like I said, we just talked this shit up. We hustled and convinced people on the first thing we ever done. First time I ever done like a collaborative project at all. We convinced all these artists to do it. And we got Motion Family to shoot the first video, which was with Grip, Craft, and Trim. It was a song called Caddies, which was like it was a Big Boy sample. They shot the video, and with the video shoot, we got all these people to pop up and show out. And the whole time, me and Mike just kind of laughing because it's like we really like schemed our whole way to get to this.
A little bit of imposter syndrome.
Yeah, I mean, it's name anybody that in music, they scheme their way to get to a point.
You're only as big as like you kind of perceive yourself to be. So it's not even cap. Like if you just perceive yourself as we're here, we're doing this, and people gravitate towards that.
Yeah.
I think so. You have to have that.
So we did with the first one we did, and then the second one. I mean, we started getting like Yelawolf got on the second one. Freddie Gibbs got on one.
Gangsta Gibbs.
Yeah, that's how I met.
He's like still one of my favorite artists.
Yeah,
for sure.
I produced like 2 of his tracks with Juicy J and with Smoke Perp and Crazy Bone. Like, so it's just funny. It was like SMK.
So it was straight production though. It was like
production.
you're the you were the product.
I was the producer. Well, it started with me and Kyle King.
Okay.
Who was working with B.O.B. He was his guitarist for about 7 years. So it started with 3 of us. And then Kyle kind of, as he started touring more with Bob, it just was me and Mike after that point. And then we eventually, then Kato came into the equation through Jarren.
Big shout out Kato, man.
Kato on the track, bitch.
Kato came into the equation after that. And then we started working the projects. And then we were also throwing shows. And the shows really were probably the most useful things we were doing. We were throwing South by Southwest shows. We were throwing shows at Star Bar in Atlanta. And it just like every time we threw them, like it just would be wild. Like I mean, like I don't know why they were so wild, but motherfuckers were
because you had experience doing it from like age 15.
Yeah.
Like you were throwing. You had your own house to throw parties at.
I can always throw a party. A party is one of the simplest forms of things. I mean, I can literally get on my phone and call 100 people and probably get at least 70 of them out.
But you also think a live event is still very valuable when it comes to building a brand. And
I be getting so mad at a lot of the artists today because I'm like, bro, how the fuck can y'all not bring 60 to 70 people out? Like literally, if you're an artist today, step one is, can you bring people out? That should be the number one thing you should learn first and foremost is like, you got to be able to bring folks out. Throw a party, man. Do whatever you got to do. Figure it out, but figure a way to gather a group of people. That's an important part of this whole equation of being an artist. Because I mean, eventually you got to gather people to come to a show. You got to gather people to listen to your music. You have to do something that makes people want to look into what you're doing. So like parties is the simplest form of it. Like I don't know what you got to do, but man, every poppin' artist that I've seen over the last 10 years could throw a party.
You could literally have a video shoot and be like,
and mad people
pull
would
up,
show up,
and there'd be a party.
Yeah,
you can only connect with something so deeply when it's just like a piece of content on your phone or music coming out of your car speakers. When you're physically at an event for an extended period of time and you're experiencing something and you're there, I think you get a much deeper connection.
Right. And you meet people, you talk to people. And not only do you meet artists, you meet videographers, artists, create visual artists and all these other things,
designers
that are part of the culture and part of what you need to be doing and you're tapping into a scene essentially. And so,
I mean, I have like a goal for, my artists of like, yes, you need to be like online, cultivating relationships, but it has to be in real life too.
For sure.
You have to.
Yeah.
Like, unless your excuse is you live in the middle of nowhere, right? Where there's not a scene.
Right.
Maybe you do need to lean heavily, more into the internet thing, right?
Hop on some Zoom calls
if you're in
something.
Atlanta, get the fuck out of your house or your apartment and go to pop-up events for like streetwear brands, go to shows of other artists, go out and do shit to meet people.
Yes.
Because it's funny, like the more you go to these events, you start to see the same people.
Same motherfuckers, bro.
But it's like
even just your events, I've met so many of the same people.
Right. It's like I may not talk to you the first time and the second time or third time, fourth, but the fifth time I'm like, okay, bro, I see you everywhere we go. Like, who the fuck are you? What do you do? Let's
Can we help each other? Like, what's going on here?
I'll tell you something funny. The reason I even got this haircut was because it's like literally like a
Killmonger.
It's literally like a calling card. It's better than a card. It's like you can see me and you're like,
that's Blake.
That's Blake.
See, I'm just white. Yeah, that's my calling.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody knows like, boy, it's that white man right there.
It's not a very good calling. I like Blake's better.
How pale was that guy we saw at the club?
But I promise you, people will say like they'll say they've seen you before because you be at events and you be out and you
There's
see
that white
guy. But it's an important part of this whole equation in this shit, especially in Atlanta. I mean, if you go to New York, same idea. LA, the same thing. It's like the more people see you around, they start to be like, "Yo, what do you do?"
Yeah,
because obviously
for real.
You're in the same rooms I'm in and if you're in the same rooms that that I'm doing, you obviously are doing something in this shit, and it's like,
you're not just there for no reason,
right? It's like you could tell when someone's just like a random ass person that just happened to be there versus somebody who's like actively or at least trying to figure something out. Yeah. And eventually it will come to a point where you'll ask or you'll try to connect with that person. And,
so give us some game as far as like, all right, if I show up at these events, right?
Yeah.
If I'm, trying to make it as a manager. I'm trying to make it as an artist. I'm trying to make it as a creative, whatever, right? If I show up to these events, like, what kind of tactics do you think, you know what I mean? Do you just approach people and say like, yo, I'm Blake, I'm a producer, you know what I mean? Like, you know, what are some tips as far as like networking and that sort of thing?
Like, I always say this, man, everybody, if you go into just a random ass example, 2 Chainz is listening party.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to focus on 2 Chainz, but it's the other people around you. Like, look to your left or your right. Stop looking up and look to your left or right, because those are the people that you can actually literally build with. 2 Chainz probably ain't got, his team is set. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not too much more you could say to him that he doesn't already have. But everybody that's out here, whether it be a videographer, whether it be a photographer, whether it be this kid's like, yeah, those are the people that literally, this shit moves in waves and you grow together. And so if you're looking at all the other people around you to your left or right that are just there and you start chopping it up with them, you will eventually start to work shit out with the people around you. Like, I just think so many people look so top heavy and go, man, I got to talk to the top. And it's like, man, no, bro, look to your left and your right, because
you got to network laterally.
Yeah, it's like those are the people that you grow with. And I promise you, like, it's so funny because so many people that I came into this game now are executives, are A&Rs, are they're popping as managers. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, those are just friends now. You know what I mean? Those are like literally like we was all in the shit together. We can laugh about stories in the past because it was just us. We didn't know what the fuck we were doing, but we stayed friends over that time. And now that you are in a position of power, or we can help each other out, it's like it's a homie relationship already. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that shit's organic because we built from the ground up.
That's such a recurring theme, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had so many people talk about that, and it's so key. And I think that you see these people online even or in person that are just chasing that super clout when it's like a fool's errand.
It is.
And literally, it's like, there's no way, to your point, that you're going to go up to 2 Chainz and convince him that you have something to bring to the table that, even if you're super dope, once again, you could be a super dope producer, you could be a super dope videographer, whatever. He's got it.
Right.
He's got it covered.
Right.
But the guy that's right next to you, to your point, or the girl that's right next to you, she or he might not have what you have to offer. Right. And you can, come in this shit together.
And you build it.
It's more valuable too. Like, I think and it's more impressive to go to the top dog and it's like, oh yeah, you connected with that guy when he was already up here. Or it's like, I connected with these people that were with me and we came up and we kind of did that. I think it shows more.
And also, man, one thing you got to realize is like the top people in this music shit, they're busy, man. So they're kind of out of touch to what's going on in certain scenes because they don't got time, bro. They're, you know what I mean? Like,
true.
They're thinking about things outside of what's going on or what's so like. You're basically getting a temperature of what the scene is like, what's going on, who's next up, who's doing this, who should I be knowing? Because eventually those top dogs are like, they're gonna ask like, what's next? We got to find something new. We got to find something. Everybody's always gonna ask what's new, what's shiny.
Not true.
And what should we be looking out for? And so if you are like, oh shit, you should talk to this person. This person's dope. This kid right here, killing this shit right here. Like, always keeping an understanding and an appreciation for that. Like. Those keep the youth and everything else. Like, you got to understand, like, those are going to be the next wave of whatever's coming. And so that's just kind of like, even when we did SMK, it was like, that was the biggest thing that we did was always keep our finger on what was coming up next. Like, if there's a kid that is bubbling or people are talking about in this little scene over here, shit, we got to go work with you. We got to go find you out and get you in the studio or get you on something or get you at a show. And that's how we could always, like, people would call us all the time, like, blogs would call us, labels would call us, you know what I mean? Because we knew we were tapped in. Yeah. And so you can use that to your advantage, man. It's a place of power when people have to call you and ask you what's going on.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, SMK started off as a production, company where you and, Kyle, and then basically just you were producing. Kato comes in, but you start dabbling in management, right? Like, that's when.
Yeah. So we
bring Jarren on at that point. Or?
Yeah, we decided that, like, first we had started with Kraft. Kraft was the first artist that we kind of like took on a more of a management role.
Yeah.
Not just doing the project, but also like, shooting videos for him, trying to line up interviews, trying to line up shows for him.
First artist to ever rep Georgia State that I ever saw, by the way. So I immediately felt, I mean, he's also dope, but like,
yeah.
He's wearing Georgia State gear.
Krav is one of the dopest, man. I really was very blessed to have him in my life. He taught me a lot about this shit. He also just, as a artist to a producer, he helped me be such a better producer because he's just that fucking talented. Like, he could write some of the best, catchiest records I've ever heard. And he's just one, and he's also just one of the most genuine people you're gonna meet in this shit. And
that's hard to come by.
It is, and like
tough industry
for sure. And he's literally the reason I met Nappy Roots was through him, because he was touring with them, and he brought them through one day, and like he was like y'all got to fuck with him, and they like Skinny called me and was like we're pushing up tomorrow. I was like cool.
That's like that.
Yeah, and so yeah, like Kraft, like I said, it started with Kraft from the management side. And then we kind of with Jarren, we did a project with him, and we were kind of like, Jarren, you're dope. You just need like a little bit of direction and a little bit of like, Mike was like, let's make this a whole tandem thing. So we kind of like we started taking over doing the videos, and we teamed up with Ray Daniels.
Yeah.
So we did like a little joint thing with Ray Daniels and our homeboy Slow, who passed away. And so, yeah, we started doing the management side of that, and we used, first thing we did was Schizo.
That video is crazy too.
That record is crazy. That video is crazy.
Schizo, yeah. Schizo.
Shout out to 808 Blake and Mike Wahlberg.
Schizo, man. That's a fucking record, man. Kato killed that shit, and that video shoot was fun. It was, it really changed the course of a lot of paths for both Jarren and for us. Also, probably one of the worst deals we've ever done. I will say that. Jarren, ask Jarren about Schizo.
Oh gosh,
really? Yeah.
Jarren.
Yeah,
we'd love to have you on the podcast. Henry's had a few records with him.
He's already been over here. I just got to get him on.
Sometimes you give up something to gain something, and so we
gave up a lot.
We gave up a lot for that record.
Sometimes you give up a lot to gain a little.
Yeah, but without that record, Funk Volume would never have come to the table.
True.
Was he with Funk Volume at that time?
No. Okay. So we did that. We did a deal with iHip-Hop Distribution. Worst deal.
I was like, well, that sounds just like a terrible deal.
Back in the day.
Any deal with iHip-Hop sounds.
I don't even think iHip-Hop is around.
I don't
anymore.
know them, so I'm like, it just sounds terrible.
They do own the rights to that record.
Well, fuck them.
Sounds like a division of Apple.
Kato's probably pissed that I ain't even talking about this.
Oh God, he's gonna cry when he sees this. So that was your first glimpse into management. Is that kind of when you realized and identified, like, yo, I really like this kind of playing coach role type of shit that we talked about earlier? Was that was it kind of automatic that you felt?
Well, it just I wanted to control the situation a little bit more. Like, I always, as a producer, you're just constantly fucking waiting. I hate
Tell me
waiting.
about it.
I was talking to Skate 08's manager about that shit, Nate, and he was just like, dude, it's
like
game of
producers
waiting, man.
is just like, we are the most abused people in this fucking industry.
Should we start a producer help group where it's like
that? Really,
if you're
man,
feeling down,
there's
call 1-800.
There should be a depression line for producers.
1-800-808
sucks. Like,
have you been waiting for your placement royalties for 2.5 years,
bro? Royalties. You're the last to get paid. Niggas bug you about getting fucking stems, and then they're like, but when you start to like say, yo, can I get my bread? They're like, oh, like, are you being pushy?
Has your invoice gone unpaid for
it's like
months or years?
So that really pushed me into management. Was like, man, fuck waiting on some shit. Like, especially waiting on my bread. Like, I'd rather just control the shit. Like, I know when the project's coming out. I know when the videos are being shot.
Yeah, it sounds like
because also
also
rollouts too. Like, I might make an insane record with an artist. I'm like, man, I love this song. I want to see this song do super well. But it's completely up to the artist to like roll it out correctly, market it correctly. And they don't even have to spend money. Just like do it justice. And I would just watch these great records that I produced just do nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I could have been a part of that. I could have helped out.
I mean, for sure.
That's why we're kind of moving in that direction on the label
100%.
management side.
Yeah, I mean, and
you have a business mind, and so do you.
Yeah.
Like, not every producer can just be like, oh, I want to be more involved and control my shit. Because if you don't actually have the business mind behind it, you're not going to actually succeed.
Correct.
Yeah, nah.
So like you clearly had something in you that was already like geared toward like that mindset.
Right.
I feel like.
I mean, step one, I'm a producer in the sense like I said, like I named like Norman Whitfield, and like they produce with a not just making a beat, but like trying to orchestrate a sound and a vision for what you're doing. And I believe that. Like I wanted to have control over the vision of what we're doing and the sound that we're creating, because like it's just, if you're leaving it up to somebody else, and it's to be interpreted differently than what you might have thought of when you're creating this shit.
Yes.
And so that was a big thing for me, was like, if we're gonna create this world together, let's see it all the way through, from the photos to the videos to the rollout to like certain shows to how your live show looks, how it like plays out in a live setting. You know what I mean? I think all that shit's important.
For sure.
And so it just became, it was almost like just a natural thing of just like, me and Mike were just like, man, we just need to, if we're going to do projects, like we need to be fully immersed and involved into it and make it worth the while and control it. And so, it just like, and management's, it's fun. It's annoying as fuck sometimes.
It's fun. It's annoying as fuck.
It's fun and annoying as fuck at the same time.
He doesn't mean it, clients.
I mean,
I know, clearly.
I tell Metro, you annoy the shit out of me all the time. Like,
Facts. Henry
Shout
hears
out,
that.
Metro.
Yeah.
Henry hears that from me at least once a day. So Nappy enters the picture because of Kraft.
Yeah, because of Kraft.
So Kraft was on tour with them at first.
He was touring with them,
Yeah.
and they heard this song Donkey Kong we did.
Donkey Kong.
Yes, I remember it.
And like whenever he would play it with them on the road, like it would just hit harder than most of their records they had that they were performing live. He would come on and do this one song, and people would just go ape shit for this sound. Because I just had, first of all, if you ever listen to Donkey Kong, the fucking 808 is just peaking. It's all fucking.
You ain't redlining, you ain't headlining.
Yeah.
You are 808 Blake.
Right. So that, I made that shit hit to the fucking max.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I don't give a fuck.
Pushing it.
And so you play on any speaker, it just blows shit.
That's another thing we talked about too, though, is using shows and using live experiences as a way to kind of like audition some of your records and be like looking at the crowd and see what works. That's very valuable.
That was one of the best times with Nappy, is like literally we'd make a record, and then we'd go on, we'd have a show on the weekends or we'd be on tour, and it's like, let's play that new shit we try to see how it hits.
Yes.
And you could see, you kind of get an idea of a reaction by certain things, how things move people, how things maybe you're like, it's not as live as I thought it was, or I didn't really get the reaction that I was hoping, and so it would kind of, we'd go back and we were working on the project, we'd be like, yeah, that song was cool, but maybe it didn't hit like we thought it was.
Yeah, so it impacted decisions?
Definitely.
Okay, cool.
That's so valuable.
That's so cool.
Or it would go crazy and we'd be like, that song is dope. Let's push this record.
Yeah, damn.
Like, we did this song Tokyo, and I remember we went to UGA and shot the video at this frat house. That's a funny ass story about that one. I mean, if y'all want to hear this?
Let's hear it.
Okay.
Yeah. I was waiting for you to start.
So we shot it at, I think it was the AE Pi House, which is like that's like a Jewish fraternity.
Great start.
So we're all sitting around, and
it is indeed Jewish.
They,
can vouch.
we convinced them to let us shoot the video in there, and they were all pumped, these kids. So we at this time, like Skinny and Scales had just gotten this dab collector. This is this is the first time I had ever heard of dab.
Yeah.
This was probably 2012, maybe.
Damn,
2012.
dabs were a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, and they would spend every January, whole month of January in Colorado. So they would come back with all these different weed shits.
New technology.
New shit.
To get high.
They had this thing, it's called the Nectar Collector.
Nectar collectors.
Yeah.
Dude,
they were one of the first I'd ever seen.
It's like a wand.
Yeah, it's like a wand glass pipe, but it's big. And you like
burn your
dab
wax with it.
So we're sitting around. Before we start shooting this video, we're all sitting around in their kitchen, like, it's one of those big frat kitchens. And all these kids are they're like the line over here to hit a dab. So fucking long. And like all these kids they're like, oh! So we get and
but this is all Nappy
this
shit.
is all during a video shoot for Tokyo.
Wow.
And all the shit they got from Colorado.
Yeah, it's awesome. So they're bringing all kinds of new shit that everybody in Georgia is like, what the fuck is that? So this one girl's like, oh, this shit's not shit. And she, oh my God, she hits that shit, and she's sitting there, and like I looked at, like I could see Scales like, oh, she's about to fall,
Throw up or some shit.
And it's like a big ass kitchen metal table.
Oh God.
She's like, boom, and bro, her whole shit was just fucking leaking, and 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 the first thing we hear is, "What'd you give our friend?" And it was like, whoa. I'm like, everybody relax. This is dab.
It's THC.
Yeah, this is THC. This is all weed. I was like, we need to get her some ice and maybe check to see if she has a concussion because she's. I mean, her whole lip was split open. She probably broke her nose.
Oh God.
And so we had to we calmed everybody down because then I'm like, oh, shit, everybody get sued. And everybody,
no one signed
she came
releases.
back. She popped back up.
She didn't sign a release.
She had ice on her face and her nose, and she was like, "I'm okay."
Oh my God.
We're like,
God, that's a great
job.
story for her to tell, like for the rest of her life.
Oh yeah, she fucked her shit up.
I don't know if I would tell people that
Oh my
story.
God.
Oh my God, yeah. So yeah, shout out A-Pie at UGA.
That's incredible.
So the whole Tokyo video is shot in there with our boy Joe Hop, who's another dope engineer. But yeah. Yeah, we got this of that record. Oh yeah, going back to that record was
that one that like kind of proved.
Yeah, man, we played that at these college shows, and these kids would go ape shit, and it was like, okay, we got to put this motherfucker on the project.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Businesses spend a ton of money on like focus groups and like market research, and you're basically getting that for free when you just play some new songs.
Now they're spending it on TikTok.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Fucking TikTok.
So
It's the wave now.
So Nappy's been in this shit. Not only the music shit, but they've obviously diversified into, the brewery, Atlantucky Brewing.
The beer shit.
Yeah, the beer shit. I think y'all are shooting like content, like a TV show, maybe.
Yeah, we got a beer show that I created called 40 Acres in a Brew.
Yeah.
It was
Love
about
that name.
So as we were touring, we would go to all these different breweries around the country. We probably went to maybe over 100.
Damn.
And just, they would, they'd be like, oh, we're Nappy Roots, we want to try some beer. And they'd be like, oh, shit. And so they would take us in the back and show us all the different setups and give us free beer. But it was cool. We started documenting all of it. And we met some real cool people. And we really, it really started with me and Scales. Before every show, we would just go try to find like a brewery because it was just chill. It was something to do, in a random ass town. But also it was a cool way to get a message out about a show. You know what I mean? Like, like a lot, especially when you're in like a smaller towns, like that one brewery, like everybody goes there. And so if you're like show up as Nappy Roots at this brewery, everybody's like, I'm going to see you tonight. I'm going to be there. I'm going to bring all my friends. And the show would be fucking sold out.
It's kind of genius.
So yeah,
great marketing strategy.
And so yeah, that's what we would do. And then we just kind of had this love of beer. We started trying New England IPAs and fucking West Coast IPAs and fucking lagers and fucking stouts and all this other shit. And like, best beer I ever had is fucking Vermont. It's called Heady Topper. Shit's phenomenal.
Yo, Vermont has made their way into 2 episodes on the podcast.
Fucking Vermont.
What was the other
Benji said his favorite show on the Earth Gang
Was
tour
in
was
Vermont.
Burlington, Vermont.
Wow.
Hey, man.
And now Blake is talking about Vermont.
Vermont's fun.
Shout out to you guys because
Y'all might be underrated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Vermont is Vermont's an experience.
Yeah.
Man. We've had some great times in Vermont.
That's funny, man. But yeah, I mean they've like maintained a very long career so far. I mean, they're still making music. Obviously, have been dabbling into other things. But so the Playbook era.
Okay.
So you mentioned obviously linking up with Trim. I guess on he was a rapper at the time. And then Banks was around when you were growing up too, right?
So Banks, me again going. It's always back to like high school shit.
Yeah.
So me and Banks,
Which is kind of beautiful.
Yeah, we hooped together with Mike.
Okay.
And like, man, he's been my bro for just years. Like we would carpool together when we were in high school and shit. We're both from the East Side. And when he first moved back to, cause he was in Pitt, and him and Barry had a company called Fab Five. They were throwing parties and shit. So he moved back to Atlanta. Probably, I'm saying it's about 2010 maybe. And me and him just linked up. But fast forward like 7 years. He had a couple artists he was working with. I know you produced for, or did you produce any you recorded any like Ben Franklin and
Big Face Paper Game.
Yeah, so he had some artists there, and he had a studio he was working on, and it just kind of like I had been with Nappy for a while, and I was just kind of looking, to pivot. I wanted to pivot to youth. I really, I'd worked with older artists, I learned a lot, but I was like, I'm just trying to take some of this knowledge to the fucking youth and work with some kids and see if we can get this shit a little bit more popping because it's a little bit faster with kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I just kind of approached him. I was like, he had a studio over at the Met Loft, and I was like, bro, you've been doing this shit a long enough. I was like, I don't know why we never linked. I've been watching what you've been doing for years. It's just, I was like, would you want to make, join up and form a management company and see what we can grow from there? He was like, bet. And
easy.
Just like that.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's how Playbook started.
That's how Playbook started. And the first artist was Metro Mars.
Yeah.
It's a great first artist.
Yeah.
QC.
And so, one thing I wanted to make sure we got to talk about, because I think it'll be valuable for a lot of the artists and just, music enthusiasts out there. So Metro has a joint venture, or I guess Playbook has a joint venture with SinceThe80s, right? Or like a partnership with SinceThe80s, and then obviously QC now as well.
It's a three-way partnership.
Yeah. And so can you break down at a high level?
How does that work?
How does it work?
Okay.
Because people out there are seeing hey, he's with them, but he's also with them and them.
And selfishly, it's something we might be interested in.
So
shut up, Henry. Sorry.
So we initially,
this is for our audience, not us.
Yeah, for you guys. Sorry.
So we initially did a deal with Barry and Zeke over at SinceThe80s, and we, it was just basically, put out a couple songs, see what we could do. At that time they had distribution with now it's Virgin, but Motown, and so we just kind of put out records with them and just kind of see how we could go.
So were they bringing the distribution to the table? Basically?
Yeah, we had the ability to distribute through a major.
Okay,
but it's just distribution. It's we're not he's not actively signed to the major. It's through that, just literally just distribution.
Yep.
And so we did that this was probably, I would say, December of 2018. And then, what was it? 2019. December 2019, we signed with Barry and we worked By Felicia, which was the first single we put out. And that kind of, bubbled, did a little bit of noise. Then we shot fucking Oh Yeah in a pandemic.
Went crazy.
Oh yeah. And Oh Yeah was the video that we were trying to create this aesthetic, kind of this just wild, just the kid is just this wild. So it was that sound to me is like this rock, almost kind of rock shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so we put that shit out, and it got picked up by Academic, and P had seen it, and
shout out P.
And P text Banks immediately and was like, "Yo."
What's this?
Pretty much.
What's going on here?
Who's this? What's this? What are y'all doing?
And so, it kind of started a conversation. And Barry was having a conversation at the same time with Coach. So it was funny because we were working. Barry was talking to Coach about it, and he had already brought up Metro to Coach. And then P saw the video, saw, yeah.
So it was like a perfect storm at that point.
Right. And so it's you're kind of attacking from two different angles.
P and Coach come together.
And then they got
this kid Metro. Yeah, I have heard of this kid.
Right.
Metro.
Then they got to talking between the two of them, and they were like, "Yo, we want to do a deal." And so we kind of figured it out to do this kind of three-way venture with them, which has been great. I mean, it allows us to move still as we were moving beforehand, but we also have the muscle of QC behind us, mm-hmm. and just just their name recognition, and just being able to, like I said, just have QC behind you.
Is there enough equity for everybody?
Yeah. I mean, it's
a big pie.
It's a big pie, but it's split up. It was very judicial how we split things. I don't get into specifics. But
I was gonna say we don't want to get in the pockets of the deal, but I am trying to understand, tactically speaking, or day to day, right?
Yeah.
How is it kind of broken down, right? What's Playbook up to? What's SinceThe80s up to, maybe, and then QC, right?
So you guys are day to day,
right? So Banks and I pretty much handle the day to day. I mean, we literally talk to Metro every day. You know, we kind of have meetings of what we want to get done for the week.
Sure.
You know, songs, releases, stuff like that. We bring it up to, and then we'll probably meet with Barry probably once a week, Barry and Zeke, just to discuss our plan. And basically, I mean, from there, we just say, yo, QC, this is what we're thinking. This is kind of our rollout. These are our ideas. And they pretty much greenlight it and give us, they can push our stuff forward when we need them to push buttons and do certain things.
So they're kind of like the lever,
right?
Pullers, I guess, if
right.
you will.
And like I am very thankful that like they let us do what we want. Not what we want, but
creative control. Yeah,
they don't push back on certain things as far as like, y'all got to do it this way or do it that way.
That's good.
They trust in they trust in what Barry's done since the 80s. They trust in what we were able to do before that to keep things moving with him. And as long as shit is continually dropping and he's got new material that, no one seems to be upset right now. So we'll see in 2 years where we are.
Not for sure.
But it's been great, man. The people at QC are great. Like shout out one of our real homies is our girl Amber Mitchell. She's looked out for us tremendously. She's helped us do a lot of things like the graduation. The graduation.
What a great idea! Whose idea was that?
It started off as a joke.
As most good ideas do.
Yeah. They do. Like I want to tell people, like people think genius ideas come from like some like place
deep think tank or something.
No, man. It takes either you fucking at a bar or you at a party and so you jugging around, you just cracking jokes, and then it becomes a reality. It's like,
no, like we seriously could do that.
Wait,
do it.
That might work.
Yeah.
We could throw money at the graduation and get arrested.
It's funny, man. Like people don't understand. Do you realize like putting $10,000, how much he looked like a marshmallow man underneath that fucking underneath that goddamn
his gown.
And like as I'm doing this, I'm thinking in my head like I can't believe I'm taping all this money to an 18-year-old, like
to a poor minor.
Like,
I guess that maybe he wasn't a minor.
Can't believe
it's funny. I called Mike and was like,
"Is this legal?"
And I was like, Mike, what do you think? He's like, fuck it, bro. That's fucking dope. Let's do that. He's like, do that shit. And I was like, all right, okay. But it's like, as we're taping it, there was so many things that could have gone wrong. Everything worked out perfectly. There's one thing I will tell about Metro, man. That kid is blessed with perfect timing. Like, I mean, there's a lot of artists that I've seen that are super dope, but they just fucking timing whenever they want to do some shit just always sucks, and I always feel for them about that. But that kid things just work out for him, and it worked out. I mean, it worked out tremendously.
We thought it was genius.
No, I mean something we talk about a lot is that there really is like three components, at least from our perspective, to this shit. Right? It's obviously talent. You do have to be
for sure
somewhat good, right?
For sure.
Good is subjective, but like let's just say you have to do that. Hard work. You have to be willing to put in the fucking hours. You're a huge believer in this. And I love that about you, of like challenging your artist to put in the fucking work, challenging yourself to put in the fucking work, right? So it takes hard work. But then there's that third one. There's that luck and timing that you spoke on, man. And like that is huge.
There is luck, man. There's like I said, like there's so many talented people in this, especially musicians. Like it used to be a little bit harder. But now, you got the internet, you can upload anything. So with that said, like you need a little fucking luck. You need something to work itself out.
What people forget about luck is that, yes, you can't control luck, but you can put yourself in a position to receive.
You can
luck.
play the odds. You can give yourself
position
the best
yourself,
which is where the talent and hard work comes in, right?
Right.
If you're not good and you don't work hard, the chances that you're gonna strike gold as a lucky motherfucker are so much lower than if you are working on your skill, working on your craft, and working hard.
For sure. So
there is like
a meet like this.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's gotta be that.
And so the graduation really like I said, it worked out.
It did.
Well, Henry, we're going to see if this is going to work out because we've just entered a final segment of the One More Time podcast. Blake, I know you're familiar with the show, but just in case you're not, Henry, where are we at?
This is the Rapid Fire Rampage.
Okay.
It's a 3-part rampage. We're going to hit you with some short answer questions.
Okay.
We're going to hit you with some this or that's.
Okay.
You just pick one. We're going to hit you with some word associations. I'm going to drop one word. and you give me your first thought right back.
Let's get my brain moving.
Yeah, and rapid is the key word out of Rapid Fire Rampage. The quicker you can go, boom, the better you do. If you're trying to make our Rapid Fire Rampage Hall of Fame, you're going to have some speed involved.
There's some stiff competition there.
Yeah, we're getting our first ballot candidates together.
Andrew Weaver was pretty good.
Andrew was good.
Your artist Andrew was pretty good.
Shout out my boy Andrew. Man.
Yeah,
He's cooking up some crazy.
Oh, I've seen what he's been doing, man. I'm excited for it.
So here we go. Part 1, Rapid Fire Rampage with 808 Blake, episode number 40.
Let's go.
1, short answer. Rampage! What is 808 Blake doing in 10 years?
Fuck. Damn, I'm already starting off.
This is not rapid.
Hopefully, man. Hopefully, I've fucking made Playbook into something that is here for the next 30 years. That's my goal. I want to build a staple here. So that's my goal.
Love it.
What is your favorite part of songs? Which element?
Chorus.
What is your work-life balance ratio?
It could be better. I definitely work way more than I work more than I probably should. With the baby now, I'm learning the balance, but I probably work way more than I should. But I also play. I play well too.
Maybe like a 80-20 or
probably like a 70-30.
70-30. I like it. What is your favorite quality about yourself?
I don't take myself that serious.
What is your least favorite quality about yourself?
I can be unorganized.
If you were arrested, what would your friends and family assume it was for?
Maybe a DUI.
That's fair. You drink a lot of beer. Blake, you have to delete 3 states.
Oh, it's easy. Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas.
He's thought about this.
You can have them. I'd throw Michigan in there too. Oh shit! I've traveled to every other state.
He's totally keeping Vermont.
Great.
Though.
Yeah, Vermont stays.
Vermont is safe.
Yeah. Or Arkansas though.
Yeah,
and no one likes Arkansas. I'm sorry, guys.
We still love you, Arkansas.
I don't know if we do, but
my dad's from Alabama. Alabama's a shit state.
If you had to wear the same outfit for the rest of your life, what would that be?
Adidas tracksuit.
How many pillows do you sleep with?
1.
What?
So
okay, we'll talk about that later.
How many Pokemon cards would fit inside of a refrigerator?
I got baseball cards. That's before my time, bro.
Okay, we can say baseball cards. I think they're the same size.
Inside of a refrigerator?
Standard size.
40,000.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your experience on the One More Time podcast so far?
It was an 11.5.
Oh, part 1 of the Rampage.
Shout out to us. Crushing it.
Yeah, it was a great time.
I threw that question in there.
He just won so many brownie points for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he did.
He might have just walked his way right into the Hall of Fame.
Even besides that was a great first part of the Rampage. Very good.
I think you caught him off guard with the very first one. He didn't realize what was
even his slower ones weren't that slow.
You're right. We've had much slower Blake.
You say, wait.
Yeah.
Moving on to the this or that. All right. Part 2 of the Rampage. Lyrics or flow?
Flow, man. Cadence.
Flow is 100% the winner.
It's won every time you said
lyrics,
it.
and I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, even your greatest songs like Tiny Dancer, the cadence is what you remember more than the actual fucking words.
Every time. I'll realize that some lyrics were lame or cool way later after I decided I liked a song.
It's like 6 years in a row. You're like, oh,
that's what he was saying.
I thought he was talking about a mop the whole time.
Exactly. Okay.
Facts.
Melodies or drums?
Melodies.
Cars or trucks?
Well, I like trucks.
Bowling or putt-putt?
Putt-putt.
Liquor, beer, or wine?
Beer.
House party or the club?
House party. Love a dance party.
Audiobooks or podcasts?
Podcast.
Good answer. Making sure.
Or else we're going to have to start an audiobook. I mean, we're going to have to write
I tried to get on the road. I would try to get into audiobooks. I was like, oh my God, this is boring. I'm about to crash this car.
Organic aliens or robotic aliens?
Organic aliens.
Become 4 feet tall or 8 feet tall?
I'd be 8 feet, man. I'd love to be 8 feet. I'd smack everybody.
Sit in jail for 1 year or lose 1 year off your life?
Lose 1 year off my life.
I think I disagree with you on that one, but we'll talk later.
Wait, you say which would I rather not have?
Which would you rather do? Sit in jail for a year or lose a year off your life?
Sit in jail. I sit in jail. Yeah, my bad.
You can still read and like gain knowledge. And
But who cares if you died 80 or 79? Fuck that. I would totally rather just die a year early.
I value time more than anything else.
Me too.
There's no money. I can't even put a value on money.
But do you value time in jail?
It's something you can at least communicate with somebody.
I guess you can read.
Smarter,
You can read.
Yeah. Be in jail, bro.
I get a pen pal.
Life
for
is
a year.
precious, Ben.
I don't know.
Moving on.
I have a huge nightmare of jail.
I was like, I don't want to go to jail.
That's why it's a great question. So,
It is good.
live on a boat or live in an RV?
RV.
Give up smartphones for life or give up salt for life?
I give up phone easy.
He needs that salt, bro.
You can have a tablet everywhere you go.
Fuck these. I hate this shit, honestly.
Battle against one giraffe-sized rabid turkey or 50 turkey-sized rabid giraffes. I added rabid.
Yeah,
I noticed.
I'll take the turkey.
The one giant turkey.
Yeah, I whooped that turkey's ass.
I would love to see that. Hakuna Matata or YOLO?
Hakuna Matata. I was just singing Hakuna Matata today.
Were you really?
I am a Disney aficionado when it comes to Disney music.
There you go.
Like I can go through it. Right now, me and Lula are on Moana.
Oh, he's
classic,
doing all the doing them
dad
again.
stuff,
Yeah.
But I mean, no.
But he did all on his own.
Before this, I was a Disney. My bag. I like in high school. I was in musical theater and shit.
Yeah,
so
we didn't talk about that, but he was like the leads in a bunch of the plays.
Yeah, like I like me some musicals.
Yeah, I didn't know how to weave it in, but
I would love to
It's
make a
a fun
musical
fact.
one of these days.
Really?
I would love to do that.
like a Hamilton type shit.
Would you score it or direct it? How would you do it?
Probably score it. I would maybe direct, but
both.
score it. Yeah, I mean, I would love to. It would be dope. It'd be one of the fun things I would just in my bucket list.
Put it in the
Damn,
checkbox.
Playbook the musical coming soon.
Yeah.
Crazy. Part 2 of the Rampage.
Part 2. Really good.
Very good.
Really good.
He's maintained a pace.
I'm not just saying that because of the 11.5 rating he gave us.
But that helped.
It definitely did.
Last part of the rapid fire Rampage.
Right.
It's the word association.
This is where it comes down.
This is where you make or break your Hall of Fame first ballot candidacy.
Let's do it.
There we go. Chorus.
Wait, what am I doing here? I just
First.
I made
Hall of Fame out the window.
You blew it.
Okay.
First word or first thought that comes to your mind. Just whatever I say a word. and
so
then give me something back.
okay.
Anything. It can be anything. There's no right or wrong answer. So what do you think of immediately when I say chorus?
Hakuna Matata.
Fair enough.
Hospital.
Grady.
Emotion.
Happy.
Contract.
Read it.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Big gem.
Grandma.
Bill Withers.
Oh, such a good song.
Rest in
R.I.P.
peace. Ribeye.
Steak.
LED.
Lights.
Anxiety.
Anxiety. I don't really have anxiety.
Lucky bastard.
Yeah.
That's an answer. Diamond.
Rough.
Garlic.
Onions.
Lil.
Homie.
Good one. It's the first non-rapper answer.
Yeah.
Spotify.
Fucking us all over, but
But he still uses it.
wait, is the beast.
Gotta have it. Yeah. NFT.
Fads.
Bass.
808.
Salad.
Ooh, balsamic.
Snake.
Python.
Politics.
What does it all mean?
Nappy.
Woo! Shut up.
Yes, sir.
What a rampage.
What a rampage. It's going to take some serious reviewing, internally amongst the board, but
I think when we were considering our top rampages, he's easily in the conversation.
808 Blake's going down in history. No,
In the
this has been an
conversation.
amazing episode, man.
It has.
We really appreciate you coming on. I think
Gems.
I think you had some really valuable insights for our audience. Super awesome stories. I mean, the AE Pie girl is going to go down in history. Shout out to her wherever you are.
Hit us up, by the way, if you happen to watch this.
Yeah, thank you for not suing us all those years ago.
Yeah. No, but seriously, the story that you've had as far as the production career you've had, getting into the management thing, wanting to do your own musical. That sounds super dope. I can't wait to see where that goes. Really appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate you guys. Man, you guys are doing a really dope thing here, man. I keep at it, keep going with it. It's fucking dope, bro.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And Henry, until next week, what are we doing?
Getting out of here.
We're getting the fuck out of here. Peace.
Pop that shit like one more time. They pop that one more time. Pop that shit like one more time. They pop that one more time. Hop up in that foreign skirt, no. All the homie, this shit trippin' off. Middle finger to the law.